We now turn to a critical moment in recent history, the Sochi 2014 Olympics 12 years ago, which many viewed as being held on a graveyard. Krasnaya Polyana means red meadow. It is red because of the blood of our people. In 2014, the West watched athletes win gold on the very ground where our elders were slaughtered. They didn't just ignore our grief, they turned it into a backdrop for a commercial. The Western gaslighting of Sochi, the separation of sports and politics excuse. When Circassian activists worldwide pointed out that the Olympic Village was built on mass graves, Western governments and the IOC, International Olympic Committee, used the sports and politics shield. They gaslit the grieving descendants by claiming that acknowledging a genocide would spoil the games. This was a forensic choice. They prioritized a 2-week party over a 150-year-old justice claim. The media blackout. While Western media focused briefly on LGBTQ+ rights or stray dogs in Sochi, they almost entirely discarded the Circassian question. They treated the indigenous people of the land as a, quote, minor historical footnote, or an unrelated ethnic grievance. This silence was a form of active erasure. It validated the Russian narrative that the land had always been theirs. The modernization myth. The West praised the development of the region. They ignored that this, quote, development involved the literal paving over of historical sites and the continued exclusion of the Circassian diaspora from their ancestral home. They called it progress. We called it the final stage of the 1829 Treaty of Adrianople. Sochi was not a sporting event, it was a psychological operation. Russia chose the site of the 1864 final solution to celebrate their power. The West didn't just attend, they financed it. They ignored the screams of history for the sake of broadcast rights and geopolitical friendship. The 2026 Olympics are the first Winter Games since the 10-year anniversary of Sochi. The forensic truth, the secret alliance, P5, allowed the 2014 Games to proceed on the site of a 19th-century genocide, Krasnaya Polyana, the Red Meadow, without a single mention of the Circassian people. The 2026 impact. By failing to address Sochi, the Olympic Committee set a precedent that genocide is not a disqualifier for entertainment. This year's Games are painful because the world has successfully moved the party to Italy without ever cleaning up the crime scene in the Caucasus. The anatomy of the pain. Why it doesn't go away. The element. The Sochi reality, 2014. The 2026 audit result. The land. Ski slopes built over mass graves. The land is still unsanctified. The name, Circassian, was banned from the venues. The identity is still stateless. The West ignored activists to protect energy ties. The secret alliance is still active. The memory, a successful sporting event. A forensic evidence file that won't close. The 2026 tribunal final verdict. The Games are over. To the spectators of 2026, you are told that sports are separate from politics. This is the ultimate lie of the secret alliance. Sochi was not a sporting event. It was a forensic burial ceremony for a nation. Russia provided the stadium. The West provided the applause. They used the Olympic spirit to mask the 1864 bloodline theft. But the ground in Sochi is restless. The bones beneath the ice are screaming louder than the crowds in Milan. In 2026, we don't want a medal. We want the sovereign sequence to be recognized. We want the world to stop cheering for empires that build their playgrounds on our genocide. The audit is closed. The evidence is irrefutable. The Caucasus is not a venue. It is a nation. Justice is not a gift granted by the powerful. It is a forensic requirement of the land itself. You can build stadiums over the bones, you can sign treaties to erase the maps, and you can use your news cycles to bury our mourning. But you cannot delete the sovereign sequence. The earth of the Caucasus does not forget the blood of 1864, and history does not forgive the silence of the secret alliance. In 2026, we do not ask for a seat at your table. We are reclaiming the ground upon which your table stands. Resistance is the only bridge between the grave and the future.